Last week we had another quietish week that revolved mostly around fitting our prop shaft and getting Meraaai's body panels ready for her big paint job. Then we lifted the mood when we introduced a competition where one lucky subscriber could win a fantastic pangolin hamper. This week sees the completion of our rear tail light installation. Nicky is back at his post after being ill for a few weeks. Our exhaust installation continues. We order our cushions for our living area, and we announce the winner of the pangolin hamper. I also have to confront one of the biggest curveballs I have ever faced in my pretty eventful life. All this and so much more in episode 118 of A Dream Called Meraaai. This place has been my office for most of the last 30 months or 128 weeks. However, recent news regarding my health has turned my world upside down. Where I'm sitting is in a quiet little spot in our garden on the lower south coast of KwaZulu-Natal. What I've got to tell you guys is quite disturbing here. On the 8th of February, I went and saw a specialist physician. I was just feeling a bit off. Anyway, as a result of that consultation, we discovered that my heart is not lacquer at all. Now, as a kid, I had rheumatic fever, and rheumatic fever attacks the valves of your heart. And I've always had a little bit of a heart murmur, but I'm a very physical, active person. I've climbed mountains, I've swum rivers, I've swum oceans. I'm a busy boy. And I forgot about it until now. So the murmur is there, and it's a bit more than a murmur. It seems to be like talking quite a bit. And the heart valve is not really working. And it explains why I've been so tired lately. I mean, just walking into East Coast Scratch and Dent, I get exhausted. I think a lot of it has got to do with the emotions of what's going on at that build, which is just dragging on, and I'm really struggling with. But this tiredness it's just not normal. As a result of this faulty valve, my heart has been working a lot harder, and my heart has also, it's started to harden and get a little bit thicker, which is not good. After the initial diagnosis, the first person I told was Mariki. And then I did tell Brahm, because I thought it was important to tell Brahm, because maybe it would install some sense of urgency. I've got to go back to East Coast Scratch and Dent now. As they say in the classics, the show must go on. It is a new day, it is a new week, and I had my very first challenge when I walked into East Coast Scratch and Dent, and I had a look inside Meraaai, and it looked like a dog's breakfast. It did not look like a vehicle that is supposed to be ready to be driven out of here in a few weeks' time. It looked like a vehicle that will probably be driven out of here in a few months' time, and that hurts me, and it hurts me a lot. But you can see there's some sparks behind me there, and let's go see what is cooking. The sparks can wait a while. While I do understand that what I'm looking at is just a few elements that are not where they should be, it still freaks me out. Precious must have heard the desperation in my voice, and she started to tidy things up. The powder is the residue from the rubbing down of the body panels and is everywhere. But I do know how thoroughly Precious cleans up, and I am sure it will soon be all clean and sparkly once more. Speaking of sparks, let's get back to those sparks I spoke about before my mood was stripped. The rear left tail light is installed, and Markeplant Chris is now busy with the right-hand light. First he makes the bracket, then he fits the skin onto the bracket, and then the magic all comes together. Our big girl's backside is looking awesome. At Bonnie Prince Charles' workstation, with appropriate soundtrack, work on our exhaust is moving along at a steady pace. Prince Charles has welded most of the pieces together. Now Chris helps him weld the brackets into place. I cannot wait for the day to hear this zoom pipe roar. This is another roar that I like the sound of. It means things are happening. Bram is busy cutting out the final shapes for our gauges on the dashboard. The dash is going to be covered with a thin leather and have brushed steel plates that hold the gauges and switches. The guy who is doing our door inlays will be doing the leather work. Our inside tabletop is also close to being sorted. Bram has made this his baby. I was feeling so insecure and I needed Bram's reassurance that we were still on course.
We're now on the 7th of March. Still looks like there's quite a way to go. What needs to be done and what is being done?
Okay, Philip, the exhaust system is totally complete now. Now it's just the air clutch that Chris and Pete will do. Then we can start closing up. Then I think that's all that's done. And then in front,
You talked about the whole front. I mean, it's because there's nothing really been done there on that design.
No,
so it's the whole dash, the seat position.
That's
everything
correct.
Needs to be done. That's a big job.
That's done already. It's your seats is in place. Everything is done there.
Yeah.
They're busy working off the insides of your skirtings of your door frames. That we can paint that. So it's very small jobs, but a lot of them small, finicky, working off jobs at the moment to make it look nice. So we're not so far. We're not so far from finishing up. If the guys just comes to work, there's a lot of guys not here again today.
Bram may have staff issues, but I was thrilled to see Nikki back at work after being off ill for quite a while. This week on social media, there was a posting about people saying they want to put a television in their motorhome, but where do they put it? And I did give them my 2 cents worth, but that housing you see behind me there, I mean, we came up with this concept some time ago, and it's a 32-inch smart TV that fits in there, and this box goes in the space above our heads in the driver's cab, because there is a lot of room up there, a huge amount of space, and the TV will drop down and we'll use those little shock arms to give it a bit of tension and to support it. And what's nice about the position of that TV, once it's dropped down, you can either view it at our little sort of table area, or you could even be sitting on the bed and you'll be able to look through and see the screen. So yeah, it's using space cleverly. Nikki is finishing off the edges of our TV cabinet, which is done in our whiskey blue to match the interior. These days I find that I'm not the Duracell bunny and that I run out of energy quite quickly. I need to have a nap every afternoon. In the mornings, I wake up tired. Every morning I walk into East Coast Sketch and Dent, hoping and praying that there is a hive of activity around Meraai. Today that is not the case. The lights are on, but no one is home. It is dead quiet here. Yeah, I don't know really what to say to you, Alex, but this is not conducive to a healthy mind or body. I must acknowledge that my current state of mind is making me far less tolerant than my normal old self. In fact, the only activity that is happening behind me, and this is Spoo and Aubrey, and they are measuring up for our cushions inside here. And Aubrey's going to make the cushions here, which will become part of our bed. And I've organized that. Spoo and his team operates from these premises, not far from the workshop. The sewing machines stand quiet. What many people do not realize is it is small businesses that are coming under the cosh from this load shedding. So our politicians can sit there and say, oh, we're getting a minister of electricity and this and that. But it's these guys, these small businesses, people like Spoo and Aubrey, who are trying to make a living, eking out an existence. And when the power goes off, there is no generator, there is no solar power, business shuts down. That means no money, no food coming into the tables, and that is the reality for millions and millions and millions of South Africans. And does anybody give a toss? No. Okay, rant over for now. Let's make a lucky subscriber really happy. Last week, we asked you to visit Pangolin's Facebook page, like the page, and on a certain post on the page, describe in one sentence why you deserve to win the prize, and you had to include the word pangolin in that sentence. Some of you had great fun with this competition, and we do have a winner. One thing I need to explain. A sentence ends with a full stop. Some of you oaks had really good things to say, but you said it in like 2 or 3 sentences, so that immediately you were out of the running. I'm sorry, man, it was the rules. And after a lot of deliberating, the panel of judges was like besides themselves. We have a winner, and that winner is Johan Taljard. So what did Johan say that caught everybody's fancy? Well, he said, I have watched Phil from day one, comma, his highs and lows, comma. When problems faced his build of Meraaai, comma, he did not curl up and hide, comma. He is as tough as a pangolin and picks off the issues like little ants. Johan Taljard, you met the brief down to a T, and you are a deserving winner. I will be in touch with you and we will organize how to get your pangolin hamper to you. So yeah, congratulations. For the rest of you, sorry man, but you know where pangolin is, you know where the goodies are, and they're great products. Support them. Alrighty, let's carry on with the show. As the week drew to a close, I was hoping that my next foray to the workshop would be a happy Smiley experience. So we have been let down again by a local guy. I understand the situation, but it doesn't help my cause. We had a guy, he's doing all the covering for the paneling on the inside of our driver's cab. He was in the insert a few weeks ago, and he was going to cover this dash with a pleather, an artificial leather. Well, he just told me he can't do it. So I'm going to see if my man Sabu, who is doing our cushions, can do it. I'd rather give him the business. Despite this letdown, when I saw Meraaai, that happy smiley feeling started to bubble. But first, let's get to our other competition. And that is to win one of these babies. Now, these have become even more special because on the back it says 2 years in the making. Well, boys and girls, it should say 2 years and 7 months in the making. Just to clear something out, my mate Daniel sent me a few messages saying, but now what constitutes like when she is finished, or well, the winning criteria? And right up front when I introduced this competition, I said, it's when Meraaai drives out the workshop, for whatever reason, when she can drive out that workshop under her own steam. So I hope that makes it clear. And on that note, Daniel, I think you're going to be knocked off your pedestal there, I'm afraid. Sorry, brother, because I think we've got Paddy and Byron still in the running. And I never, ever thought I would even mention Byron's name. I think he said 10th of April. But yeah, you boys are still in with a chance to win one of these. Yeah, baby. All right, let's get back to the paint job. At last, something quite exciting and some good news. I need it desperately. Friday afternoon, walking in here, and you can see everything is covered up. And Engine Pete there is now turning into Painter Pete, and he is about to start painting our Meraaai. This is a big moment, folks, a big moment. Pete has had a few Meraaai names, Engine Pete being his main name. Then he was Hopalong Pete after he broke his leg in a few places, and now he is Painter Pete. Pete is busy just wiping the whole vehicle down with benzene, and that is to get off any trace of oil which might be on any of the body panels, because that will stop the paint from bonding. Then I noticed that if Meraaai was a puppy, she would have done one big puppy pee. The guys have also wet the floor all around Meraaai just to stop any dust floating up, because you do not want any dust to get onto that body while this paint job is happening. Although if Meraaai was a puppy, she would have peed exactly where I put my bare foot first thing in the morning. Painter Pete is almost ready to deliver his first stroke of the spraying machine goodie. He masks up to prevent himself getting totally goofed on paint fumes. After months and years of waiting, our Merāai begins one of her biggest transformations yet. Painter Pitt is a man possessed as he lays down the blue-grey paint, stroke after stroke. Pitt really knows his stuff and moves around Merāai like a ballet dancer with one lead leg carrying a bag of potatoes. Slowly our big girl's features begin to change. Then her mood changes depending on the light. We have waited a long time for this day. The paint job still has a way to go with a few little surprises along the way. It is always fantastic to end an insert on a high note, and what I am looking at behind me is fantastic. It's wonderful. We mixed this grey colour a long time ago, a little bit of blue in it, and I love it. I still love it. There are going to be some major changes and additions to this colour scheme, which is really going to lift her whole look up. And can't wait for that. It can't happen too soon, but whew, you can hear I'm a bit out of breath. It's also because it's so damn hot, but it's one of the side effects of what this old ticker of mine has been doing. I mean, I do get exhausted pretty quickly, so but that is it for now, and I am off to see this dude on Wednesday. The dude in question is a Durban-based cardiologist, and all I want him to be able to do is to help me get through this time. I have done my research, but I still have so many questions and so many fears. It's a hard one to swallow, so we will be off air for a while. You know, it's also, one just wonders what else can happen this year. It's been really been a hell of a year, and but hey, we will chat soon. We will chat soon. Keep safe. Look after yourselves. Keep safe. Remember to like us on Facebook and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. You will find us under A Dream Called Merāai. Until next time, keep your dreams alive.